Fangirl here, and for today's episode we are going to be focusing more on the cosplay seamstress area once again, because as most of you experienced cosplayers may know that there is a lot more detail to studying than just simply pulling the threads together. One of the biggest steps in making a good cosplay, or even if you're simply making an outfit of your own, is actually one of the earliest steps. It is choosing the right material, because I could easily just quickly make a video and tell you to go to the local fabric store and pick whatever you like, but there's actually a lot more to it than that. I mean, you can't just walk into a store and say to the store clerk, hey, I'm looking for red fabric. Well, what kind of red fabric? Or simply saying, I'm looking for materials to make a jacket. What kind of a jacket? You see what I mean? There's actually a lot more to think about in this process, because the last thing you want is to spend all of your hard-earned money on a certain material and then make the cosplay and it turns out to be a disaster. I mean, not just a disaster, but a waste of time and a waste of your money. It is hard to balance it, but the most important three features you want to think about is the accuracy of your costume, how comfortable it's going to be, and your budget, obviously. And since there are so many different types of fabrics to choose from, that's what I'm going to talk about with you today. I mean, I'm not going to go on forever with this. I'm just going to give you the basics so that you'll at least know the difference between certain things, and hopefully it'll help you narrow down what it is you're looking for your next cosplay idea. So let's get started and let's dig in, shall we? The first thing I want to introduce to you is the simplest and cheapest of fabrics. It's cotton basically, but they call it muslin, and it is available mostly in white and off-white. As you can see, just plain cotton material, but this is the cheapest that you can find. This ranges anywhere between $2 to $10 a yard. It depends on how wide you want it. Like some go 45 inches wide, some go 180 inches wide, and for this material I recommend it for practice, like especially if you are working on a brand new outfit or a brand new costume, you're using a new pattern, you've never used it before, and you've already spent your hard-earned money on this material and you don't want to risk ruining it. This is the stuff I recommend because you can easily trace on it and just pretty much practice the pattern on this first and see how it turns out, because that way whether you mess it up or not, it's only $2 a yard. It's not a huge waste of money. I mean, you are going to spend some money, but you want to, if you're not sure if you're going to get it right the first time, then use this stuff. I highly recommend it. This fabric is a lot more similar, but it's more of a step up. I mean, it's cotton. You've all seen it. It's plain, simple cotton. People use it for bandanas and accessories, and there's plenty of prints and colors to choose from, as you can see. A lot of beginner cosplayers use this because, as you can see, there's a lot of colors, but the only downside I have to this is that it can be weak. It falls apart easily, especially after you wash it. I don't know if you can see close to the lens here, but if you can see all that, this is called fraying. And it just means that it falls apart easily. So if you plan on making anything out of this, a costume or a craft material, be sure that you hem it or do something to close it up, because otherwise it'll fall apart more easily than you think. I mean, this once again is also good for practice. And now we're going to look into something a little more classy. This is satin. And it seems a lot like cotton in a distance, but if you look really closely, it's very shimmery. A lot of people make this for their more elegant costumes. Satin pretty much has its own library. It comes in many different varieties. The weakest would be costume satin, which is very similar to regular cotton, but it obviously has a shimmery look. Many beginner cosplayers use this. I've used it many times myself, but it has the same problems. It frays, it's kind of weak, and it will fall apart easily. So if you're looking for more higher quality of satin or something with a much stronger texture, there is a section called CALICO, and it has, like I said, it's a much stronger texture. You will need to put some extra stitching to it, and it is a little more pricey, but if you're into making prom gowns or wedding gowns or any dresses like that, it works wonderfully. Just follow the pattern right or follow your instincts and it will turn out beautifully. Also, a little bonus feature for you guys. This you'll also find in the Calico prom dress section. It is sheer fabric. Can you see me? Ta-da! This is specifically called organza, which is a more thinning kind of sheer fabric, but obviously it's transparent material. People use this for decorative purposes mostly, and it is gorgeous. I love this stuff. I love the way it turns out when I put it on a dress, or if I want to accessorize by adding a sleeve or a shawl. It's lovely, and it's nice to work with, but once again, it frays, and it's very delicate to work with, so be careful. Tulle is the cheapest and most common material. If you've noticed right here, I made a very cheap ass tutu out of this. But if you notice, like, you've seen this material all over the place. People make tutus and veils out of this stuff. A lot of people also like to make undergarments, like a little bit of a poofy, what's the word? Petticoats. Yes, sorry. People make petticoats out of this, like the very poofy kind to show support of the big dresses, and it's see-through, it's netting, and it shows, like, it's very thin, and you'll only get it for like 99 cents to $2 a yard, so it's very easy to get whatever material you want to use. I mean, if you're going to make a tutu, you're going to need a lot of this stuff, so luckily it is very cheap, but it's also very resourceful. This also comes in different varieties. It's got shiny, it's got matte tulle. This version is super thin. So if you're looking for something with a much stronger hold, you want to look for something called mesh, which is like this, but it's a lot more stiff. It's a much thicker texture, and that is resourceful as well, especially if you want to have a super supportive poofy skirt of some sort. That's just an example, but you'll get what I mean if you actually have to see it up close. Next is for people who want to make suits. This is suiting material. Well, it's just one example. Here's another example. Suiting material. If you want to make a costume that will suit your success, then obviously the suiting is best for you. I'm not good with puns, okay? The suiting section has a lot of vintage designs and patterns. Stuff that you'll recognize from anywhere from the Victorian area to the Roaring 20s to simply just steampunk. A lot of this stuff reminds me of my grandfather and the outfits that he used to wear on his hats, jackets, his pants. I mean, this stuff really was way in back in his time. Now, the next material I want to talk about, I have kind of a love-hate relationship with, and that is leather. And as you can see, I'm not showing you any leather because I don't have any. I'm sorry guys, but yeah, leather is kind of way beyond my skills. I mean, real leather. I'm not trying to go all anti-animal cruelty or anything. I don't have leather on me because, one, it's super expensive, and two, it is beyond my skill to work on. You need very special tools and very special sewing techniques to work with this stuff to have good results on it, and I just don't want to risk wasting money on things like that. I don't commonly work with this stuff, so kudos to you if you do. I'm not trying to disown your fandomness of any kind. If that's the stuff you want to work with, go right ahead. If you want to learn about it, don't expect it from me. I'm sorry, just make sure you Google it. There's plenty of tutorials that'll show you how to make nice stuff out of it. And for all my fellow peers who are not a fan of working with the real flesh kind and want to go for more of the vegan zombie route, as I would say it, I give you pleather, or faux leather as I should say it. This stuff is like the closest thing. I mean, if you want to go as close as possible without going to the real deal, this is the stuff. There's different varieties of this too, not just this. There's vinyl, there's micro suede, and there's other simple types of pleather. This is the micro suede. I found a more shimmery kind so you can really see it. Almost looks like snake skin, but it's got a very smooth, almost like a velvety texture to it. This works well for clothing, for comfortness. Comfortness is very important. We also got this type of pleather, which has a smooth surface, but also has a smooth inside, so it's comfortable as well. And then you got, this is closer to the vinyl section. It's very thick. It kind of has a smell to it, so you might want to clean it first before you use it. But for armor pieces, for boots, for the giant heavy material, that works for you. This one I like to use. I make these, this is black pleather, and I practice making the Organization 13 cloaks with this stuff. This is very common. I would highly recommend putting like a lining inside though, if you're gonna make a cloak of some kind. I just hope that nobody gets the wrong or too realistic idea and pours blood on me if they see me wearing this stuff. I mean, this stuff's not cheap, you know. Oh, speaking of blood, let's go for something a little less humane, shall we? We've got fur! No, don't panic. This is not real fur, I swear. This is faux fur. I do not have any real animal prints in this house, I promise you. If I were to go Cruella de Vil or anything, I would probably use a carpet or something, I swear. I don't go that far. I love cosplay, I love being accurate, but I don't go that far. Faux fur is very limited in stores. I mean, they're very limited with prints especially. So if you're looking for a very specific surface, then you might want to do a lot of research to see which stores have what, or see if they find anything online. They got, obviously, the very common animal prints. I don't normally work with this stuff because, I mean, for one thing, I don't know if you can see that, but it sheds. It sheds a lot, and it itches like hell when you wear it. Oh my god, it itches. I mean, I wouldn't mind making something like maybe a fake stole or something like a realistic plushie. I've seen people make plushies out of this stuff, and I don't know how they deal with it because it's messy. You gotta be, hopefully you have a giant vacuum cleaner right next to you when you're working with this stuff, because it's nice, but it's messy. Oh jeez, look. I got fur all over me. Look at that! Look at all this fur. It's a mess. Also, I don't think I need to point out that faux fur and faux leather are super expensive. So, yeah, choose wisely. This next material is very useful. I mean, I've pointed out types of material already that can be super uncomfortable, but that is why I am pointing this out. This is what lining fabric is. This is the stuff that goes underneath jackets and underneath dresses. If you're using a type of material that may cause a lot of discomfort, this will give it a smooth texture so that when it's rubbing against your skin, it's not causing any rashes and it can help breathe more. So whatever type of costume you're making, if you really think you're not going to be comfortable in the material you choose, get the same amount of this stuff. They have this in different colors as well, so don't worry, not just black. But I highly recommend getting this stuff if you want comfort. It's worth it. Now, don't all of you look at me like that. I know that when most of you work on your costumes, you don't even test it out firsthand. Your first time wearing it is going to be on that weekend, am I right? Do you really want to leave that weekend with a huge red rash all over yourself? I don't. I think it's pretty obvious what I'm eventually going to talk about next. I love working with this stuff. This is the warmest and most comfortable thing that you could ever work with. It's strong, it's warm, it doesn't fray or fall apart, it's stretchy. I love it! And I mean it when I say that you can make just about anything with this stuff. You can make blankets, you can make scarves, you can make plushies, you can make hats, you can make slippers, you can make bathrobes, you can make pants, shoes, socks, jackets.
You can make aqua teen hunger force, you can make pillows, microwaves, mac and cheese, cupcakes, cookies, mac and cheese. You can make aqua teen hunger force, you can make pillows, microwaves, mac and cheese, cupcakes, cookies, mac and cheese.
The next material is flannel. Now this stuff, I've used this to make plushies too, but the solid color obviously. This one's got kind of a pink print to it because a lot of people make baby blankets out of this stuff, especially for the newborns, because it's got a soft texture, but it's not too thick, and it's just the right amount of warmth. You'll also see that flannel has the plaid patterns. People make sweaters and jackets, very common up in the north, eh? The next one is felt. Now this one is very common amongst mini crafts and plushies too. I make some plushies out of these, but only if I can't find the right color. I don't usually go for this because it kind of pills easily and the surface is much rougher on this one. Hey, you feel that, Bruce? It's practically rubbing the skin off ya. This stuff. Oh, this stuff. Let's go to this first. I mean, this one is a lot better to choose from. This stuff is called Ultra Cuddle or Soft and Comfy. There's 2 different category names for that. This one is a much neater version. It's got these bumps for, I guess, decorative purposes. People make baby blankets out of this too. It is very soft and very comfy to work with. This one, on the other hand, this version, I don't know if you noticed, but if you thought the fur was a mess, I'm gonna need a vacuum after this filming. But look at all this. Like, I didn't do anything with this. I just bought this piece and took it home. Just cutting the surface leaves this much of a mess. Yeah, I really do not recommend this stuff, but if you insist on buying it, I mean, people have made like those tie-around blankets out of this, and I just can't understand why. If you insist on buying this stuff, keep it separate from your wash. Wash it by itself. Otherwise, all this stuff is going to get all over your clothes, and it's never going to come back off, and bye-bye laundry. Brush myself off again. Look at that. Yeah. Okay, now that we've gotten that mess out of the way, literally, we're going to aim for more of a stretchy kind of material. Now, a lot of people have asked, like, what is the material that people used to make t-shirts out of? It's called knit fabric. And it's stretchy because it has a bit of a spandex to it, but it also has the cotton texture still so that you can make any kind of clothing out of it. Some of it only stretches one way, while others stretch multiple ways. Depending on which material you get, you will have to follow the certain pattern because it does matter which way it stretches. Like if you're making a dress and it only stretches like up and down, it's not going to fit you very well. You want it to stretch a certain direction. But it is very comfortable. People make dresses, people make sweatpants, like maybe a workout or yoga outfit, simply a scarf too. It's very resourceful. The best part about this stuff is that it can work for everyday clothing as well as cosplay. But since we're talking about stretchy material, I want to remind you guys that there is, if you're using this on your sewing machine, use the zigzag pattern that is, if you look on the switch of your sewing machine, there's different ways of stitches, and you want to go for anything that has a zigzag to it, because if you use a simple straight on stretch, it's going to ruin the fabric. It'll freeze the elasticity and it will be ruined. So zigzags, remember that, knit zigzags. This is a step up from knits. It's very challenging to work with, but once you realize how it works, it does pay off. This is spandex, like straight up performance fabric spandex. It's like knit, but it's got a much more elasticity to it. People use this for swimsuits, for dance recital outfits. If you're thinking about like that smooth surface that's waterproof, this is the stuff you make. People have also used it for like to cover armor pieces and give it color and a shimmery glimmer to it. Plus with the amount of stretch it has on this, you can fit it pretty much almost anywhere. But you are going to need a lot of patience to work with this stuff because sometimes it just won't cooperate. You need a lot of patience. But like I said, it will pay off once you learn how to use it. Another very common material for cosplay is velvet. The most common I have on me right now is the crushed pan. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it, but if I'm wrong, then I'm sorry. Crushed pan is, you immediately recognize this stuff. This is mostly made in Renaissance fairs. People make cloaks out of this. It's got like very shimmery, very soft. This material I use to make my Merida dress, my Princess Merida from Brave, which is sitting over in the closet. I need to work on upgrading that eventually. Let's see, what else am I forgetting? Am I forgetting anything? Am I forgetting anything? Damn it! We also got what is considered silky prints. This isn't real silk, but it's very similar. It's got most of it is transparent like this. People will just make shawls or scarves, accessories, It's got pretty colors though. I don't use this very often unless need be. Linen is a very interesting type of material. For those of you who are vegan or into using organic stuff, linen is technically a vegetable. Hear me out. I have it on Google here, so let me see if I can get this right. Linen fabric is made from these cellulose fibers that grow inside the stalks of the flax plant, or linum. Oh, there's a really long name there. I'm not going to read that. So as you can see, this linen material is very common. You probably have seen it in a lot of cosplayers, especially either sandbenders or deserted people who are randomly picked to pursue their destinies of some sort. These come in a variety of colors, but it's mostly in like white and off-white. This one will be short and sweet. Burlap. This, I felt that I should point this out. I mean, obviously, anything related to scarecrows or anything made of straw, you're obviously going to use this stuff. But what I want to point out to you guys about this stuff is that when you're looking for burlap, there's different types of burlap. There's a craft burlap that fabric stores sell, and that stuff is soaked in kerosene. So I would highly recommend you don't use that kind for any costuming, because obviously it's highly flammable. So that can be a little dangerous, or even if you're making something in the household. So if you're looking for burlap for any project, be sure that you ask them what specific kinds of burlap are there and which one is safe to use. And last but not least is one of my personal favorites. It's called bottom weights. I love this stuff because you find a lot of denim and jean material in there, so obviously you can make jeans out of these, but you can also make jackets and many different types of clothing. I mean, this works so well. It's so resourceful for cosplay and for everyday clothing. Plus it's got a variety of colors, a variety of prints. It's endless with this stuff. I love it. So I think that's it. I think that's all I have in my fabric collection. And yeah, as you can see, there is a lot to choose from when it comes to making anything, not just cosplay. So, and I know that list is more endless compared to what I have. That was just the basics. So if you have any materials you'd like to share, if there's anything you like to recommend when it comes to choosing materials for cosplay or anything in that matter, feel free to comment, play with the buttons below, let's get connected, like, comment, subscribe, etc. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that it was of good resource to you, and I'll see you next time. Stay savvy, everybody. Love you. Oh, jeez. Who's gonna clean all this up? Oh, I'm not crazy, I am just okay. I stitch all night and work all day. I make my scarves to keep me warm. My plushies are so soft.